here we are with a little bit of repair work done. I'd like to thank the folks that had some really great suggestions on what I can do to get this thing kind of looking a little better and less like a Christmas tree ornament. The first thing I did was, well, I kind of took you guys' advice and then worked on a little on my own. The wash, yes, was great for toning down the green. I also decided that the shades were just too close, the blue and the green, so I replaced the Cantor blue with the Fang. I originally avoided using the Fang because I didn't want to use colors that were too much like the real color scheme for I originally avoided using the Fang because I didn't want to use colors that were too much like the real color scheme for the Scions, but in the end I think that swapping out that Cantor blue for the lighter and more toned down the Fang really kind of worked out well, and it separated the Stegodon scale green from the blue really nicely also. And then, you know, when you put the wash over it, it really kind of gave it that dirty, used kind of blue-gray color. I decided just to you know, take this thing outside and get some shots. I decided to just take the thing outside and get some shots here in the natural light to really kind of capture the color combination before I go back inside and start working on the shading and the highlights and everything. What I'm really happy with is the way that the Scion plate on the front came out. I decided to go with a little bit of orange. I can't remember the actual orange color that I used there. I know I'll have to just show you the pot later, but that looks really good, I think. Still a little holiday festive going on, but overall much more toned down and looks much better. And with the wheels painted and everything and shaded, it looks like a better vehicle overall. Yeah. All right, on to the next steps. Well, after the initial dark wash, going over it, doing the edged highlights and everything, I think I'm getting back on track to where I really wanted this to be in the first place. I hope that I'm really capturing the look that I wanted to capture here in the light. We'll do a once around and then talk about it. So everything seems to be coming back into place, kind of the way I initially envisioned it. Getting my painting legs back under me. It's been a long time since I really worked on something and did some serious detailing of it, and that's making me pretty happy. To be honest, in the little screen on the camera, everything's looking a lot lighter than it looks in real life, so I'm hoping it's coming out the way I really have it looking, so you guys can get a sense for it. But what I ended up doing was I recognized that the Stegodon Green didn't have the look I wanted. I went over all the Stegodon Green with Incubi Darkness, so then I could edge highlight it in Stegodon Green. Then after I got those edge highlights done, I did just the finest points of it in the Fang over again, just to bring out just a little bit more of the texture there. The Fang, I did the edges in Thunderhawk Blue, and then I did a tiny little bit of dry brushing. You can most noticeably see it on the rear hatch there in Thunderhawk Blue, just to give it a little texture and everything. For the Caliban Green, I did the edges in Lauren. For the Caliban Green, I did the edges in Lauren Forest, and then I did some light dry brushing there too, just to bring out a little worn look and everything. And I really like the way that came out. And then for the red panels with the gold accents, I edged that in Screaming Pink. I can't remember exactly what it's called. I didn't do any real dry brushing on that, but I think that came out really, really nicely. For most of the metal areas, I did a little bit of a dry brush, a little bit of an edge highlight there. In Runefang Steel, to really kind of give it some more depth and everything. And I think really you can kind of tell how that came out on the missile launchers. That looks pretty good. And then for a lot of the metal, I gave a wash of Agrax Earthshade just to kind of give it that dirty metal look. And that came out pretty well here on the rear guard. Really well on the exhaust. Looks pretty nice. On the turret there, I've got a nice flat space to do some decaling or the name of the vehicle and everything, because there's not a lot of space otherwise to do it. The only real extra weathering I did was on the wheels. I wanted to get them kind of done. So initially I painted them in Mechanicus standard gray for the hubs, and then I did the rubber in Tamiya XF69 NATO black, because it's kind of a gray black. It's not a straight black. It kind of has a rubber look to me. I let that all dry, and I coated that in the Nuln Oil wash with everything else. And then I just sort of dry brushed the tread pattern with Steel Legion Drab, which is a nice kind of dirty brown without being all muddy. And I did a little dry brushing on the outside to give that dirty impression, but not, again, not muddy. Like, you know, these guys like their vehicle. They're going to keep it clean. They're proud of it. Then I gave the whole wheel and everything underneath an Agrax Earthshade wash as well. I think the wheels came out pretty successful. They have a look I really like. I need to clean up a little bit. I see, you know, some of the resin mold marks there, but I'll work on that. But the vehicle as a whole, I mean, in terms of detailing and the look, I got it right back on track to where I really, really wanted it to be. It's looking really good. So now I've got to get this thing gloss coated so I can do some decals and markings. Still got to work on the Gatling gun over there to get that all set up. Notice I didn't give the Agrax Earthshade wash to the front brush guard here. I kind of like the way that looks. I just gave a little bit of the lighter silver dry brushing to it, just to let it be. But anyway, once I've got the gloss coat and I start doing decals and markings on this, then I will start doing some worn metal on some of the edges and some dry brushing in some metallic colors to give it a little bit more wear and tear. And I think we'll be ready to get this guy just about done for a final wash, you know, rivets and such. Really happy. I appreciate the advice everybody gave me, the good ideas. It's coming along very, very nicely. So stand by for part 3.